Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Politics with Flo. I am your host, Flo, and today's topic is regarding the recent news of Bad Bunny, right? Who would have ever thought I would have made an episode about Bad Bunny? But this one is relevant because it has had some controversy. One, I am a football fan. As you guys probably already know, maybe you don't know, I do have another podcast called Elite Sports. Where I talk about football. So this one in particular is relevant to, some of the stuff I talk about. And here is something that, has sparked, again, some controversy with conservatives or those who, align with Trump politics, the right, whatever you want to call them, right? And if you don't already know, this is not news. It happened, I think, a few days ago when they announced they had the video with him on the field goal post, and essentially, made it clear that he will be the halftime performer. At least one of them. I don't know if there's any more, but he will be one of the ones who will be performing in this Super Bowl that's coming up. And the first thing I started seeing is those on the left celebrating because obviously he's been very anti-Trump, very anti-ICE deportations. So he's made it very clear. I think Bad Bunny is somebody who's very, very involved politically on the left, I would say. At least his rhetoric is, right? He aligns with the LGBTQ community. He aligns with immigrants, right? So I can see why conservatives don't like him. That's not a surprise to me. What is a surprise to me, though, is how many conservatives were upset about him performing at the Super Bowl, right? Some of the things that you saw is, they're upset because this is somebody who sings predominantly in Spanish. And, obviously the NFL, the Super Bowl is an American sport, right? And when we hear the term American, a lot of the times folks probably assume English only, right? Conservative, right? So I can see that part of why they don't like Bad Bunny. Now, what I don't understand is why these individuals are particularly upset with him being at the halftime show. Now, I get it. You might not like his music. I personally am not a fan of his music. I'm more indifferent about it, right? But from my understanding from my experience with halftime shows, what I've seen is that the overwhelming majority of people who watch the halftime shows are those people who are fans of these particular artists, right? And more recently, I think the NFL has recognized this, that the female fan base has increased. We have seen how Taylor Swift got all the Swifties on board, right, to follow the Chiefs and the NFL and whatnot. So this is clearly a move by the NFL to gain more of a female audience. And it's a perfect move by the NFL, right? So I get that part. But again, if you are a conservative and you call yourself a football fan, right? Are you really, really watching the Super Bowl for the halftime show? I have never watched a halftime show that I'm like, oh my God, this show is so cool. I need to watch it. Like, I don't care about the halftime show. Even when they had, Snoop Dogg, Dr. Dre, Eminem, and that 50 Cent who was getting clowned, the entire thing. There was a bunch of memes. Anywho, I have never, in all the Super Bowls that I've watched, as a football fan, as a fan of the NFL, I have never cared about the halftime show. So my question is this, right? If you call yourself a football fan, an NFL fan, are you really watching the game? Or are you watching the halftime show? My assumption is that these folks who are upset about the halftime show are not even football fans. They just don't like the guy, which, again, I understand. You might not like him. I get it. His music is pretty liberal, leftist, whatever you want to call it. It's not conservative for sure. But to throw a fit and to be outraged by the fact that this guy is performing at a halftime show, what are you watching? Are you watching the halftime show or are you watching the football game? I don't understand that. Like I said, I do not even listen to his music. I don't care that he's playing. I have no dog in this fight, but I do not understand for 1 second, for the life of me, why people are upset that he's performing. Again, if you're not a football fan, this doesn't make any sense because you're not watching a game. So why would you tune into the halftime show? And if you're a football fan, why do you care about the halftime show? Right? This is to me, it's outrageous, right? Again, it's pretty obvious, right? I think it's pretty obvious here. You can make the assumption that those individuals who do not like Bad Bunny in this specific place at the halftime show, right, are bigots. And I rarely ever say these words. I rarely ever say these types of things. You know me, I don't like to throw language like that around, but it's pretty obvious at this point that these individuals do feel that way. Because why else would you care? Why else would you care that Bad Bunny is performing at a halftime show? Again, this is a Super Bowl. If you're a football fan, this is the last thing you're going to care about. First thing you want is your team to go to the Super Bowl. Now, if they don't go to the Super Bowl, then you're probably cheering for one team anyway, right? Doesn't matter who it is. I usually leave. I go to the restroom or, I don't know, walk away. I don't ever watch a halftime show. And I'm probably not going to watch this one, to be honest with you, right? I don't care. Only people who are concerned about this are those who just do not like him, period. And again, why would you tune in to his show if you don't like him? Those who are going to watch him, again, are predominantly, women, right? Or females, if you want to use that term. Or just people who like Bad Bunny. They don't care about the game. So I get why they're watching the halftime show. I understand that. But for the love of me, for the love of God, why are you so upset about this? I don't get it. To me, this is especially for a community of people who are always bragging about facts over feelings, right? Why, it doesn't matter, snowflakes, all these words that they throw around, right? Now they're offended by this because he speaks Spanish, because his music. Oh, who cares? Who cares about the halftime show? I don't care about it. You shouldn't care about it. If you're a football fan, why are you so upset about this? Right? And I normally do not get this animated on my episodes, but my goodness, this one just had me like, I've seen so many tweets. I've seen people on my feed, because again, I follow people from both the right and the left. For those who did not know, I talk to everybody, right? I don't have a side because I want to learn from people. But I've been seeing this, and I've noticed a trend, right? This trend, and I talked about this last week with Division. People will say that they stand on something, and they really don't stand on it. They really don't. So the only clear indicator here is that these people, again, do not like Bad Bunny because of his politics, because of who he is, right? And one of the funniest things that I saw a couple of days ago regarding Bad Bunny, right? Because evidently he's Puerto Rican, right? And some people forget that Puerto Rico is a territory of the U.S. and Puerto Ricans are U.S. citizens technically, right? So somebody was being interviewed and they made some ridiculous comment regarding that. He said, well, he's not an American citizen. Well, yes, he is, right? He doesn't look like the American citizen that probably you're looking at or thinking about when you think American citizen, but he is. Whether you like him or not, it doesn't matter, right? This is why I wanted to talk about this, because the hypocrisy of people on the right, and again, I am, look, nobody, for me, everyone's fair game, right? If I see something that's hypocritical, I am going to call it out. This is why I started my platform. This is why I came out the way I came out, right? It doesn't matter who you are. If I see that you don't stand on business and that you are hypocritical, I will call it out. And I'm seeing that right here with the right, with the MAGA supporters, whatever you want to call yourselves. Get over it. It doesn't matter, right? If you truly care about the football game, the last thing on your mind should be this damn halftime show, right? And if you don't care about the football game, why are you even watching the halftime show? Simple as that. This video wasn't going to be too long, but I did want to bring it up because, again, I've been seeing that, and I've seen folks in the comment section of people who are right-leaning or whatever just outraged that they have this guy singing in Spanish and that he's not an American citizen and that this is ridiculous. This is America's sport. Why do we have a guy who doesn't even speak the language, right? It's absurd, right? But again, this is when you realize that people are fanatics. And, the guy who had this video, it's funny because he's critical of sports, right? Very critical of sports. But he's a fanatic of politics, which to me, I think is worse, personally. I mean, I'm a fan of football. I love the NFL. I love my team. I've been watching it since I was a kid. And I will admit it, it's very emotional. There's no logic in that. I will support my team. Doesn't matter if they suck. I will support them, right? But that's a team, right? But to be a fan of politics, I don't get that. Especially when these things are supposed to affect you, right? But to get that emotional over politics, I don't understand that. Unless your whole identity is tied to politics. My identity is not tied to the NFL or to my football team. Now, maybe it does on Sundays, when I put on my jersey or whatever. But no, you're not a fan of sports, but you're a fan of politics. And clearly, I can see that because of the way you're acting, right? Anywho, that's all I wanted to say today. Stay tuned. There might be some changes to the channel. We'll not reveal that yet specifically, but there are some things that are going to be changing possibly in the near future. I'm excited about it. If not, for sure, you'll always get these little tips here and there, little small clips of me talking about something that I think is cool or whatever. Just wanted to bring it up. But anywho, again, this is Flo. Until the next one, people, peace out.